As the clock struck midnight on December 31st, 2024, the world held its breath, suspended in a moment of collective uncertainty. The tumultuous events of the previous year had left scars on the global psyche. Economic instability had gripped nations, political unrest had erupted in streets once deemed peaceful, and the shadows of pandemics lingered like an unwelcome fog. People were weary, yet they clung to the hope that the dawn of 2025 might bring clarity and direction, a beacon of light in a time of chaos. In the weeks leading up to the new year, the prophecies of Nostradamus resurfaced in public discourse, as they often do during times of crisis. The 16th century seer had long been a figure of fascination, his cryptic quatrains interpreted in myriad ways, each generation finding its own meanings within his enigmatic verses. Nostradamus had foretold events that seemed to echo through history, from the rise of empires to the tragedies of war. Now, as humanity stood on the precipice of a new year, his words took on a renewed significance, particularly those that hinted at the coming age of Aquarius, a period heralded by many as one of enlightenment and unity. Yet Nostradamus' prophecies were never straightforward. They were layered with complexity and duality. The age of Aquarius, while promising a time of collective awakening, also suggested challenges that could shake the foundations of society. As the world turned its gaze toward 2025, many began to wonder what these challenges might entail. Would the prophecies point to a future of peace and collaboration, or would they forewarn of conflict and upheaval? In the early days of January, the air was thick with anticipation. Global leaders convened in summit meetings, discussing strategies to address the economic downturn that had plagued their nations. The specter of recession loomed large, and the fear of widespread unemployment and social unrest was palpable. Nostradamus had prophesied that the great man will be struck down in the day by a thunderbolt, a line that many interpreted as a warning of political upheaval. The world watched as leaders navigated treacherous waters, their every decision scrutinized by a populace hungry for stability. Meanwhile, the geopolitical landscape was shifting. Tensions between nations simmered, with alliances being tested and new rivalries emerging. Nostradamus had alluded to the false trumpet that will cause Byzantium to change, a phrase that resonated with those following the news of diplomatic rifts and military posturing. As countries grappled with their own internal strife, the fear of a larger conflict loomed like a dark cloud on the horizon. In the midst of this turmoil, whispers of famine and disease echoed through communities already battered by the previous year's challenges. The pandemic had left a legacy of health crises, and as new variants emerged, the specter of illness cast a long shadow over the new year. Nostradamus had written of plague and famine as harbingers of the times, and many felt the weight of his words as they faced the reality of food shortages and healthcare disparities. Yet, amid the chaos, there was an undeniable undercurrent of resilience. Humanity had a remarkable capacity for adaptation, and as the days turned into weeks, communities began to rally together. Grassroots movements sprang up, advocating for social justice, environmental sustainability, and economic reform. People were no longer content to sit idly by. They sought to shape their destinies in the face of uncertainty. The age of Aquarius, with its promise of unity, inspired a renewed sense of purpose among many. In the realm of technology, innovations continued to emerge, offering glimpses of a brighter future. The advancements in renewable energy, artificial intelligence, and biotechnology hinted at a transformative shift in how society functioned. Nostradamus had warned of the two great masters, a phrase that some interpreted as a reference to the dual forces of technology and nature. The challenge lay in harnessing these advancements for the greater good, ensuring that progress did not come at the expense of humanity's well-being. As January unfolded, the world began to witness a series of events that seemed to mirror Nostradamus' predictions. Protests erupted in cities across the globe, as citizens demanded accountability from their leaders and action on pressing issues. The cries for change echoed through the streets, a chorus of voices unified in their pursuit of justice. In this moment, the duality of hope and despair became starkly apparent. While the future felt uncertain, the determination of the people shone through the darkness. By February, the geopolitical tensions that had simmered began to boil over. A series of skirmishes erupted in contested regions, and the fear of a larger conflict sent shockwaves through international relations. Nostradamus's warnings of impending wars resonated deeply as the world held its breath, hoping that diplomacy would prevail. The echoes of history reverberated in the hearts of those who remembered the consequences of unchecked aggression. Leaders were urged to seek common ground, to remember the lessons of the past as they navigated the treacherous waters of the present. In the face of these challenges, the resilience of humanity shone brighter than ever. Communities banded together to support one another, sharing resources and knowledge in a bid to weather the storm. Local initiatives flourished as individuals took it upon themselves to address the needs of their neighbors. The spirit of cooperation and collaboration grew, a testament to the human capacity for empathy and connection. As spring approached, the world began to witness the fruits of these efforts. Grassroots movements gained traction, advocating for systemic change and environmental stewardship. The Age of Aquarius, with its emphasis on unity and enlightenment, inspired a wave of activism that sought to challenge the status quo. People from all walks of life came together to fight for a common cause, their voices rising in unison as they demanded a better future. Yet, even as hope blossomed, the specter of disease continued to loom. New health crises emerged, exacerbated by the existing challenges of the pandemic. Nostradamus's warnings of plague and famine felt increasingly relevant as communities grappled with the realities of healthcare inequities and food insecurity. The resilience of the human spirit was tested once more, as people fought not only for their futures but for their very survival. As summer approached, the world found itself at a crossroads. The geopolitical landscape remained fraught with tension, and the potential for conflict loomed large. Yet, beneath the surface, there was a growing recognition that collaboration was essential for survival. Leaders began to engage in dialogue, seeking to address the underlying issues that had fueled unrest. The lessons of the past echoed in their minds, reminding them of the importance of unity in the face of adversity. In the months that followed, the world bore witness to a remarkable transformation. The collective efforts of individuals and communities began to yield tangible results. Policies aimed at addressing economic inequality and environmental sustainability gained traction, as governments recognized the need for change. The spirit of the Age of Aquarius infused the discourse, as people united in their vision for a better world. Yet, even as progress was made, the challenges remained. The threat of war still lingered, and the specter of disease continued to cast a shadow over society. Nostradamus's prophecies served as a reminder that the journey toward enlightenment was fraught with obstacles. The duality of hope and despair persisted as people grappled with the complexities of their reality. As autumn approached, the world seemed to find a new rhythm. The struggles of the previous year had forged a sense of camaraderie among individuals as they recognized their shared humanity in the face of adversity. The spirit of collaboration permeated communities, fostering a sense of belonging and purpose. People began to envision a future where they could thrive together, transcending the divisions that had once separated them. In the final months of 2025, the world stood at a pivotal moment in history. The lessons learned from the tumultuous events of the previous years had shaped a new narrative, one that embraced resilience, cooperation, and a commitment to building a better future. Nostradamus's prophecies, once viewed with skepticism, now served as a source of inspiration, guiding humanity toward a path of transformation. As the year drew to a close, the world reflected on the journey it had undertaken. The challenges faced had been formidable, yet they had also birthed a renewed sense of purpose. The Age of Aquarius had brought with it a call to action, urging individuals to rise above their circumstances and work toward a common goal. The duality of hope and despair had woven itself into the fabric of society, reminding everyone that even in the darkest of times, the light of resilience could shine through. In the final moments of 2025, as the clock prepared to strike midnight once more, the world held its breath, not in fear, but in anticipation. The future was still uncertain, yet there was a palpable sense of possibility in the air. Humanity stood on the brink of a new dawn, ready to embrace the challenges and opportunities that lay ahead. The prophecies of Nostradamus had echoed through the ages, guiding generations in their quest for understanding. Now, as the world prepared to step into the unknown, it carried with it the lessons of the past and the hope for a brighter tomorrow.